Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to Management Concepts 302. This is Professor Kern once again with yet another one of my many, hopefully, helpful little video things for you to take a look at. The topic of today's video is a slight or perhaps somewhat dramatic change in the way the course material is presented. For some strange reason, normally, if you're taking Business 302, oh, by the way, I'm also having lunch at the moment, so periodically, if I stop to take a tasty bite of some homemade chili, wow, that was good. Sorry. So anyway, normally, you know how everything's 11 weeks long here, right? But for some strange reason, this term, this is the good news part of it, there's only 10 weeks. So hooray, hooray, only 10 weeks, right? But the great gods of Strayer have decided that we're going to take 11 weeks worth of material, we're going to jam it into 10 weeks. So, how are we going to manage that? So if you look at the course shell, there's now some magical thing called Week 10, Part 1, Week 10, Part 2. Okay? So really, what they did is they just took what was Week 10 normally and made it Week 10, Part 1, and they took what was Week 11 and made it Week 10, Part 2. Okay? Don't know if that's the best approach, but that's the approach they took. So what that means to you is this. Well, first it means more chili for me. Oh, man, I gotta be honest, I make fine chili. So anyway, what does that mean to you? It means, in essence, a normal Week 11 for us, okay, would be 2 short discussion questions and a brief 1-chapter quiz. That's a nice light Week 11, right? So what it means now is in the last week of the term, which would be Week 10, you will have, and don't panic, see the good news? Only 10 weeks. Now the bad news. That would mean in Week 10, okay, which is the final week of the term, you would have to complete Week 10 Part 1 and Week 10 Part 2 in the last week. That means 4 discussion questions, 2 quizzes, and a 100-point PowerPoint presentation, all in the last week of the term. I know, gasp, gasp, gasp. However, here's my plan to deal with that. If you look in the course shell, you will notice that I have already opened up Week 10 Part 1 and Week 10 Part 2. The strategically smart student will take some time to chip away at that stuff throughout the term, right? If you're an overachiever, you have the book, you have the chapters, right? You would be able to do all 4 discussion questions, if you're very proactive, way ahead of schedule, which would be great for a number of reasons. One of which, if you haven't read through the course guide or watched any of my other videos yet, I do give bonus points for discussions that are completely 100% done prior to Friday of each week. So one of the nice proactive things, if you're able to get in and do the discussions early, and again, that means a complete discussion, 3 postings on 2 separate dates, okay? So if you're able to do that, you could be racking up early bonus points, which would be great, okay? So you should be able to do all the discussions and the 2 quizzes prior to Week 10 even starting. The one thing you may not be able to do until later in the term is the PowerPoint assignment, because that PowerPoint assignment is based on the second writing assignment, which isn't due until Week 8. So you won't have a lot of experience as to what to do with that until that time. So anyway, but if all you have is the PowerPoint, and that's worth 100 points. There's over 1,900 points in this class, so it's highly possible you may not even need those points at that point in time, which would just be awesome, right? So please, when you have some time over the first several weeks, strategically, if you have an extra moment or 2, go in, read the chapters for Week 10 and Week 11, or Week 10 Part 1, Week 10 Part 2, and do the discussions and attack the quizzes whenever you can, okay? Again, they're open now. They'll be open for the entire term, but please, 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 if you wait, that is going to be problematic because 4 discussion questions, 2 quizzes, and a 100-point PowerPoint presentation all in the last week of the term, especially if you're taking other classes. If you have other online classes, you're going to run into the same thing. that week 10, the last week of the term, is going to be very, very hectic. So, if at all possible, I think by opening up the weeks 10 part 1 and part 10.2 early, it does give you a chance to get in there, go after the material, read ahead, and do your best with those discussions early. And again, like I said, there's bonus points involved for getting them done early, so it's certainly in your best interest to do so. If you have any questions about this, I think also, by the way, this will be the case for the next semester as well. For some reason, the calendar this year, 2013, we have 2 straight terms of 10 weeks, and then we go back to our normal 11-week thing. So you might as well get used to it now. So anyway, as I said, the key is that week 10, part 1, week 10, part 2 are now open for you as of the first day of the class. So attack the week 1 stuff first, obviously. But once you've completed that, again, you've got lots of time. But the earlier you attack it, then it's off your plate. You don't have to worry about it. So again, if there's any questions about this, I mean, good news, it's only 10 weeks, right? That's a plus. But somehow, excuse me, we have to manage to get all 11 weeks worth of material in while, still getting that done and having time to eat chili. Wow. So anyway, that was my multitasking, eating lunch, and bringing you up to speed on how we're going to attack the 10-week term. So I hope that works out well for everybody. Again, as I said, if there's any questions, give me a call. And hopefully this will all work out great. If for some reason you cannot access week 10 part 1, week 10 part 2 from the first day, please give me a call to make sure everything is available for you, and we'll work our way through that. Anyway, thanks again. Welcome to the class. I'm sure we're going to have a fun semester, and I look forward to working with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.